greeted.
Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you my new Baldur's Gate 3 epilogue that was added with patch 5. This is a wonderful way to wrap up the game, and it does kind of hint at a sequel, so here it is. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching.
You faced down the gods. You thwarted the grand design. Anything seems possible. But before you can write the next chapter of your story, you must end this one. That's why you're going back to where all of this began, answering an invitation to gather with your allies and friends.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
There you are. Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Well, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. I suppose I do, don't I? I'm glad you seem well. Truly. I had no doubt, but I'm glad to hear you say it all the same. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. Gods, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited. Well, I've had run-ins with my former fellow Sharans on a couple of occasions. Word seems to have spread of what happened at the cloister. Now other chapters of Shar worshippers see me as a prime target to offer up to their lady as a sacrifice. Don't worry. I know their tired old tricks better than anyone. They'll need more than a hooded cloak and poisoned blade to best me. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. As am I. It's well deserved. And I dare anyone to argue otherwise. Hopefully these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
Now, there's a face I know well indeed. Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking very well indeed. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Oh, I wouldn't bother you with such things during a party. And anyway, I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Me. It's all Volo as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
Are you there, Gale? Isn't this a lovely little gathering?
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Oh, forgive me. I am simply excitable. It is good to be out under an open sky once more. My first, since the reconstruction began. We left quite a mess behind. But the city begins to look something like itself once more. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers. Same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon. Same cisterns overflowing. Huh. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three. But nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, George, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. There is still much to do. People to house, a Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. You want to join the Harpers, even after all you have seen. Ha! All right. I won't deny any willing arm for the cause. Even those who should know better. There is, usually a ceremony. Reciting of odes, singing of songs. I'm sure we'll get to all of that as the drinks flow. For now, I give you only the most simple Harper creed. To look for the light, and watch always for the dawn. But to enjoy the night while we have it, huh? Now, before this night grows any deeper, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Mustn't think about any of the local brain. Ah, soldier. How glad I am to see you again. I'd started to wonder if I ever would. Maybe I thought our paths would cross on their own. Or maybe I wasn't sure what you'd make of me. I've changed so much. But then again, you have too. I can't tell if that's admiration or revulsion on your face. Or maybe something else entirely. I'd ask you what you'd been up to for 6 whole months, but then I'd have to reciprocate. And I'm not sure you're ready for the truth. Let us test that theory. Do you remember how my favorite food used to be mutton chops? I'm now far more interested in, well, brains. True. But I've found ways to maintain my values while respecting that which I am. That which made it possible for me to live. I've made arrangements with a healer in the city. When a patient is beyond saving, but still able to speak for themselves, they're offered a choice. They can go as nature intends to take them, or when they're ready, when their goodbyes have been said, their affairs settled, and all that awaits them is pain, I relieve them. When I consume their brains, I am nourished by much more than the physical nutrition. Their memories, from birth to death, become part of me. I've lived hundreds of childhoods, first loves, marriages, feuds and friendships. I remember them all. And in this way, we all live on together. I think of you too. This life of ours, soldier. It's a long one, if we're lucky. Who knows what the future holds for either of us? It's been wonderful to see you again. Reminds me of old times around the campfire. We used to think becoming a mind flayer was a fate worse than death. I wouldn't trade my life, this life, for anything. Funny how things change, isn't it? Enjoy the night, my friend. I know I will.
So you... Well, look who decided to turn up. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And you're looking more delicious than ever, if you don't mind me saying. Whatever you've been doing with your time, it clearly worked wonders. Ah, so it's the healthy glow you get from being a good person. That explains my pallor. But I'm glad to see the world has treated you well. You've earned it. We both have, in fact. And where better to celebrate our good fortune? An old haunt with old friends. Alas, no. I haven't dared to risk it while Cazador still lives. I haven't seen the sun since the brain fell. I'm reduced to eating vermin once more, and I can't walk the streets lest Cazador finds me. Alas, no. Since we lost our tadpoles, I'm just another vampire spawn. If he finds me, he only has to say the word, and I'm his puppet again. I can't face him. You, on the other hand, are perfectly suited to facing him and killing him. One hopes. Thank you. I can't tell you how much this means. But killing vampires is a decidedly daytime activity. For now, we can simply enjoy the night. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
There you are. I was hoping you'd... Gods, I must look a mess. I just rolled out from under a pesky ogre when Withers yanked me in. Oh, I didn't mean... Well, I didn't mean that. I just gutted the ogre, not... How about I change the subject before I dig this hole any deeper? It's so good to see you. And I've got so much to tell. The trolls I've torn open. The ghouls I've cleaved. The stories I've been itching to tell. I don't suppose you'd indulge me. Yes, but just the one, or I'll be yammering all night. You want to hear about the Stegosaurus that bullied Candle Keep, the impossible lich, or the young dragon who crawled out of Deeping Cave? Wizards have a penchant for unusual pets. A flying cat. Delightful. A menagerie of dinosaurs, on the other hand. The wizard in question was called Rylan. Had a half-dozen eggs smuggled into Candlekeep from the jungle. Did you know it takes 3 10 days for a hatchling Stegosaurus to reach the size of a cave bear? Rylan sure didn't. Wasn't a month before the place was overrun by rampaging stegos. The great readers dealt with 5 of them without too much trouble. The remaining one, well, young Rylan cast in large on it by mistake. The beast rampaged through the baths, demolished Ogma's temple, and smashed through the east wall. Stegos may not have much taste for meat, but they've got a hell of a temper. Luckily, this one had only clobbered a few farmhouses once I'd caught up. The ground shook as it charged me. I vaulted over the beast and grabbed it by the tail. It bucked and bellowed as I climbed its plates and straddled its head. I plunged a blade into the left eye, straight into the brain. It fell to the ground with a thud. Bet the ravens are still picking at its carcass to this day. I wish you'd been there to join in. Oh, to battle together, just like the old days. I suppose that's my way of saying I miss you. Tonight, I toast not just the people we've become, but the people we were. Warriors, winners, saviors. I won't lie. Losing the eldritch blasts and the hexes took some getting used to. Nothing but void, where once there was hellfire. So, I stoke new fires in myself using the lessons my father once taught me. Now, the Blade of Frontiers is a ranger. A true hunter of monsters. A warden in more than just name. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last Fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but he's teaching the Fist a new lesson. Go on, the night's young. You all waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
Some fish heads and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
Seems like a century ago that we were all together, but also like no time's passed at all. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I don't need to. New days, old friends. There's no greater joy.
A word, please?
Oh, right. You. Hello. Yes, I'm certain it is. As for you, well, I've heard congratulations. You helped Mr. Dacarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right? I can almost feel Gale here. Among his friends, in you. Some part of him remains, doesn't it? That thing's no more than a shadow of the real man. Nonsense. Though it captures some of his more insufferable qualities. Oh, what I wouldn't give to snuggle up on his lap one more time. Just once would do. Oh, I couldn't possibly. Unless, well, perhaps it's not a terrible idea. Gale would be quite... Perhaps you'd be willing to come meet Gale's mother sometime? She misses him so, and I know it would do her heart a world of good to discuss her son with someone who knew him as he was. Jolly good. I'll tell Mrs. Dekarios to be expecting you. Oh, she'll be delighted. Things just haven't been the same without him. Enjoy your party, dear. I've heard you quite deserve a celebration.
Well met. I am a magical projection of Gale of Waterdeep. And if you see this manifestation, that means I have prematurely perished. Alas, on this occasion I appear to have been erased from this plane in both soul and substance. So, the usual protocol. I am, however, available for the duration of this spell to assist with the tying of any loose ends related to my recent departure from mortality. Your words may feign indifference, but I can only assume they are a facade behind which your true heartbreak is keenly felt. The good news is I am here precisely to assist in cushioning that heaviest of blows. I have been entrusted with the delivery of a letter to be given to one who cared most for me in life. I hope these words do something to ease the tragedy of my untimely and honestly, quite unexpected passing. With that, I'm afraid my spell is waning. Is there anything else you need of me before I blink out of existence? To think I believed godhood was worth losing all this.
Pretty red, but... yeah, not even.